All right, everyone, welcome. Uh, I hope you enjoyed watching WrestleMania. I watched it, most of it live, and then I watched the last three matches later on. And in this episode, we're going to be covering not only the main event between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, but the following night, last night, on Monday, April 9th, 2018, on Raw, the segment involving Roman Reigns. It was very telling. Now, of course, a lot of people on fans all year have caught wind. Started again by that boob, Dave Meltzer, and of course regurgitated by everybody else, that it was a foregone conclusion that Roman Reigns was going to win the Universal Championship in the main event at WrestleMania versus champion Brock Lesnar. Of course, leading up to it, there was all these rumors and news that Brock Lesnar was going to re-sign with UFC. So even more, it was a foregone conclusion that Roman was going to win the title at WrestleMania. Of course, leading up to it, we saw the pictures with Dana White, with Brock Lesnar, and they tried again. Leading up to it, the year, I always point out the fact that WWE had pulled the plug on Roman Reigns back in 2016 when they took the title off him. And I always say, if you watch my channel, it wasn't because of the suspension. I think that suspension was a work. It was just to take the belt off of him and save him the embarrassment, because the ratings were dwindling with Roman as champion in 2016. You don't believe me? You can go back, go Google it. Google the ratings, 2016 Raw ratings for the whole year. It got down to 2.0 or 1.8 in the middle of June with Roman as champion. So in 2016, the Raw after WrestleMania, I think the ratings were 3.4, 3.6, I'm not sure. And then not even 2 months later, the ratings dwindled down to 1.8. He does not work. They put all their chips on the wrong guy. Whatever. If you're a Roman fan, not a Roman fan, you're a hater, lover, he's not worked. And since 2016, they have had to avoid putting Roman at the end of pay-per-views and big shows, because he'll get booed out of the building. They can't risk it. He hasn't held the belt since late June, July of 2016, and this is supposed to be the top guy, the face of the company. Forget now these comparisons to Cena. He's been dubbed, Roman has been dubbed Cena 2.0. Forget it. This guy's going on he might be going on 2 years without holding the title. And even all the titles, how many titles has he held? World titles, I'm talking about. Three titles he held. 3 times. One of them was a forgettable one, right? What was it, the 5:15? Remember that? Sheamus beat him in 5 minutes and 15 seconds? No, I'm sorry. Roman held the title for 5 minutes and 15 seconds. That was one. I forgot the other one, and the other one was what I just mentioned. His win at WrestleMania in 2016. He held the belt for 2.5 months, 3 months, whatever. We'll give him 3 months. Failure. Failure. That's the key word. And we're going to quickly look at the video. Now again, if you follow my channel, I cannot play the footage alive in regular speed, because YouTube will immediately block this video. Even if you use a few seconds, it's very strict copyright. So last night, we saw, okay, so let's just backtrack. It was a foregone conclusion, WrestleMania. Roman was going to beat Brock. No, the opposite happened. The complete opposite happened. It was pretty much a squash match throughout. It was a squash match throughout. Brock destroyed him, suplexes, and then there was an interesting spots at the end when Brock gave him the F5 and Roman kicked out. Okay, you kind of expected that all year, because they were building up the F5 so much. Remember, all year one F5, and that would put down anybody. It put down Samoa Joe, it put down Braun Strowman, it put down AJ Styles, it put down Kane, it put down everybody. One. Nobody kicked out of the F5. So, of course, that was a way to build up the F5 for WrestleMania. So, make Roman look strong, he would kick out. And he kicked out of one, he kicked out of two, he kicked out of three, and it got ridiculous. That was ridiculous. It became cartoonish. Uh, and that segment, that spot, we have to analyze it. I think that was Vince sending a message, but in a weird way. And after the three F5s, Brock took him outside. He F5'd them on the table, and then he F5'd them again. I don't know how many F5s did Roman kick out of? 6, 7, and then there was the imagery. Brock finally had enough. He took the proverbial gloves off, and he busted open Roman's head. Very much like that SummerSlam match against Randy Orton, I believe, in 2016, was it? Or 2015? I'm not sure. I think it was 2016. I'm not sure. When Brock split Randy Orton's head. And again, just like that year, I made a video also. You can go on my channel. You can find it, Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, SummerSlam. I explain how they do that. And I had to read on Twitter all these ridiculous comments and tweets about, oh, Brock went off script. Brock got careless again. Listen. Listen. The WWE has a no blood, no color policy, meaning those days, if you're not aware of it, if, in the old days, even in the past, when the wrestlers would bleed, they would have a little razor and they would cut their foreheads with a little tiny razor blade and bleed. They've outlawed that now for various reasons, hepatitis C and other reasons, whatever, blood transmitted diseases. So now the only way that it can even be allowed once in a blue moon is if somebody gets cut naturally, without a blade. It's called the hard way. You saw it 3 years ago in the first Roman Reigns match when Roman sent Brock into the ring post, and Brock, you could see he hit his head on the ring post and he split his head. That was him doing it. That's called the hard way. The Randy Orton Brock segment at SummerSlam with the elbow. There's two ways of opening up somebody the hard way. You could do either the way Brock has done it with the elbow across the forehead, which basically just rips the skin. It's fairly painless. You don't feel it at the moment. Yeah, you might get a little bruising and a little headache the next day because you have staples and stitches in your head, but it's relatively fairly harmless. Anyway, that was another thing. He opened them up. I think that was to get blood in there. It was to get Roman some sympathy. It was to show a side of Roman we haven't seen with the blood. It was almost Vince. What I got from it was that it was a Vince troll job on the fans about keeping Roman strong. Nothing. He was like, you know what? You want to keep bringing that up? Let me show you. Let me show you what it is. He F5'd them 7 times, blood across the face, and then finally Brock won. So which brings us to, I was waiting the segment last night, and you could see Roman came out looking like a sad sack, like he was about to cry. He was walking extra slow to the ring. He had a sad look on his face. Then he gets into the ring. You could see here, it was barely visible in his hair. It was right on his hairline. Brock is a pro, man, as far as doing that. It looked like he was sad. The fans were booing on him. I don't know if Vince intended for sympathy. He didn't get it. But there was interesting things in the segment. Roman said he got his ass kicked last night. He announced there's going to be a rematch at the network special. The greatest Royal Rumble is going to be held in Saudi Arabia at the end of the month in April. Him and Roman are going to have a steel cage rematch. Now listen, I don't think they would do a title change in a foreign country, in Saudi Arabia, for the first time, and especially after all this has transpired. So anyway, he kept. It looked like he was about to cry. He was just, and then he did this. He went into this weird thing about Vince. He started blaming Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon didn't smarten him up. He brought up that Brock Lesnar was a smart businessman because Wednesday it was being reported that Brock was going back to the UFC. Then yesterday, WWE announced that they re-signed Brock to a new contract. What has that got to do with the match? I don't understand. This is very weird. He was saying that Sunday, as soon as he got into the building, something was off. People were looking at him funny. They were whispering behind his back. What? What? I don't understand. That didn't make sense. That didn't make sense at all. So, yeah, Roman continues this rant about conspiracy theories, and then he finally proclaims that every time does get back to the ring with Brock, he guarantees that the story will end with him as Universal Champion. Crowd really couldn't care. He's looking for sympathy. I mean, that's not the look of that didn't have the feel of a huge star face of the company. And of course, one of the many returns last night, Samoa Joe came out. The fans cheered. They started chanting Joe, Joe, Joe. I mean, who's the heel here and who's the face? Exactly. Chance of Joe's gonna kill you. Samoa Joe told him every time he gets into the ring with Brock, he gets his ass kicked. He winds up in a stretcher. Last year, Roman was all year. Roman was telling everybody he was the only one who could beat Brock. He failed. He's a failure, and this is very interesting because it was clear. Like when he said that you're a failure, he echoed the resentment of what I've been saying. You've been saying probably, and probably what backstage the upper management and everybody else has been saying about Roman Reigns. He's a failure. He's failed. It's not about hating him, which I hate the character. That's another thing. People, come on, get real. I don't care. Who cares about the real person? I see the character. This is the character. I don't hate him as a real person. What a bunch of morons. Getting back to what I was saying, he's failed. He's failed that people have been rejecting him. And they've tried 6 million ways under the sun, tricks to get him cheered. We saw it last year. It's like they sit in the office and figure and get up a hat and pick out things how he could trick the fans into cheering for Roman. Bring back the Shield. Do this. Do that. Have him call out Brock's being a part timer. Have him say Brock doesn't respect the company or the fans. Have him come out and have the other wrestlers agree with Roman. Have him come out with sympathy. Nothing works. It's over for him. And that word that Samoa Joe used, that was all intended. It was a softball to the fans. And guess what? Guess what the fans started chanting? You're a failure, you're a failure, you're a failure. Joe said that Roman has been lying to the fans all year about being able to beat Brock. He lied to his family, he lied to himself, he lied to his kids. Listen, that was Vince McMahon's words. You got to look. See these. If you follow my channel, that's how you analyze wrestling. It's Vince. Vince is talking through these characters. Most of the time, he is. At least the big major characters. What Samoa Joe's promo last night that was Vince's words to him, and that's it. Now listen. All this talk and this whole video, I may wind up being dead wrong when April 27th Roman winds up beating Brock Lesnar. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen because in this promo they announce Samoa Joe challenges Roman Reigns at Backlash, which is in May following this month. He accepts. Roman, all he does while Joe is cutting this promo on him, he acts like that a 15-year-old kid in high school saying, oh yeah, okay, say it to my face, say it to my face. Now look, Roman probably will go over Joe. I think Joe's role in WWE is that monster heel to put people over. Uh, they sent the signal back in December when Joe almost beat Brock. He dominated Brock. Roman got dominated by Brock. I mean, what do you think? I think the WWE sent the signal last night. As you can see, this was also this shot. This was intended. This was intended. It was coordinated. And that's why they caught this. The director caught the shot. It was to show Bloody Roman being defiant that no matter what, you have to kill him to beat him. Okay, so they keep him strong. They still protect his character, but they can't protect the fact that he is not over as far as being popular with the fans. Yes, he's over. He gets a consistent reaction thus far, but he is not popular the way he's intended. Tell me what you think. Leave your comments, like and subscribe, and we'll talk again soon.